Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Rick Fussell and this is the Ingrain Workshop. As you can probably tell, we're not actually at the Ingrain Workshop. Right now I'm at Red Maple Cabin up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. About a month ago I did a video on how to build rustic kitchen cabinets, and in today's video I'm going to be demoing the existing kitchen and installing those kitchen cabinets with an assist from the supervisor.
Hi everyone.
My beautiful wife Z. So she's going to be helping me out, and we're going to get this kitchen cabinet installed.
We're ready for demo.
That's coming up next. So as you can see here at the bottom of the existing cabinets, these beauties were lovingly crafted from particle board with a plastic wood veneer, a cutting-edge design choice if it were 1985. Moving on, you'll notice that the drawers don't open all the way. Why? Because the drawer pulls are apparently locked in a perpetual boxing match and can't seem to agree on who gets to open first. Let's take a closer look inside the drawers. The bottoms are made from a thin sheet of particle board that over time has developed the structural integrity of a soggy paper towel. It's like these cabinets were specifically designed to test your patience and your ability to not accidentally spill everything onto the floor. As you can imagine, I'm more than a little excited to say goodbye to these cabinets and welcome some solid wood cabinets into the space. They'll not only open fully without causing a traffic jam, but also bring some much needed durability and style to the space. So before we can start with the demolition of the cabinets, we had to start removing the appliances. We started here with the refrigerator and got that removed, then the dishwasher, then the sink, and finally the electric stove. So as you can see, I've removed the dishwasher. I did have to disconnect the water line and the drain line and also the electrical connection for the dishwasher, and then I was able to remove that. Then moving over to the sink, I disconnected the hot and cold water line and then the drain line. And then I took off all the clips that are underneath the sink and then was able to remove the sink and got that out. And then lastly, the range just slid out. There's a 220 volt outlet there that I just had to unplug the range from, and that got the range out. So now with all the appliances out of the way, it's time to go ahead and start the demolition process.
We found spacers. We found newspapers used as spacers between cabinets. Look at the date. And today is December 6th, 2024.
So it's what, 21 years old? The newspaper was exactly 21 years to the date. Had to be an omen, because then this cabinet tried to kill us.
Whoa. Move out.
Dang. You okay?
Yeah.
Don't matter about me.
Is that recording?
Of course.
Okay, see, that's a moment.
Now with the demolition complete, we had to roll up our sleeves and get to work cleaning everything up. We bleached the floors and walls, then we applied Kills to the walls and painted the entire kitchen. It was definitely something that we didn't anticipate, but it definitely improved the space. With everything prepped and ready to go, the first thing I do is determine the high side of my floor. Now, no floor is entirely level, so I'm going to start my toe kick installation at the high side of the floor and then work my way down to the low side of the floor. That way I can shim up the toe kick as I work my way down the floor. This is also another reason why I build my toe kick separately from the cabinets. It just makes it so much easier to just level and shim a single toe kick than the entire cabinet. Once the toe kick is level, I'll screw it to the wall and then screw the adjoining toe kicks together. Once I get all the toe kicks level, fastened to the wall and to each other, then all I have to do is set the cabinet on top of the toe kick, screw them to the toe kick, and I'm done. The toe kick for the cabinet next to the sink cabinet will have to be modified so I can route the electrical, water, and waste lines from the dishwasher over to the sink location, which is where they need to be tied in. I'm going to mark the locations on the toe kick where I will need to drill access holes for the dishwasher utility lines, and I'm going to use a 1.5-inch hole saw to drill out these holes. Again, working with just the toe kick makes this process much easier than having to work on the entire cabinet. Another additional bonus is everything is routed under the cabinet instead of running through it. With the toe kicks in place along the main wall, I'm going to replace the shims with 3-inch by 3-inch plywood blocks. This is a personal preference, but it will shore up the toe kick while keeping it level. Once I install these blocks along the inside of the toe kicks and get them screwed in, I'll then be able to remove all the shims. I feel that these blocks give the toe kicks a larger bearing surface area than the shims, making the toe kicks more sturdy. Now with all the toe kicks installed, they're level and secure to the wall and to each other, we can start bringing in the actual kitchen cabinets and sit them on the toe kicks. Now I did spare everyone the pain and agony of having to listen to the supervisor's Spotify Christmas playlist throughout this whole project. I think I've listened to Feliz Navidad enough times to last me until next Christmas. Before installing the center sink cabinet, I had to modify the back of the cabinet to accommodate the hot water, cold water, and drain piping from the sink. I just used a hole saw to drill out these locations. Now to avoid tear out, I like to start the hole on the back side of the cabinet and then drill out from the front of the cabinet, which will totally eliminate any possibility for tear out. Here's a look at the sink cabinet installed. You can see the hot, cold, and drain line for the sink, as well as the access hole I drilled in the bottom of the cabinet for the water and drain line from the dishwasher. Next, I'm going to clamp the cabinets together, then remove the doors and go ahead and screw the cabinets together. Then I'll also screw the back of the cabinet through the top and bottom nailers to the stud walls. I've located and marked all the stud locations with painter's tape on the wall. While I'm doing that, the lovely supervisor is cleaning out the inside of the cabinet from the mess I made by drilling out all the hole locations. Finally, it was time to dry fit the countertop on top of the base cabinets. This is the longest section of countertop and was approximately 10 feet long. Once we got that in place, there were 2 other side countertops that were less than 3 feet. Again, we are just dry fitting everything here to make sure everything is going to work out. Then, if need be, we can make our final cuts and adjustments. With the countertop now temporarily in place, I can go ahead and start laying out the location of the sink because I'm going to have to cut out the countertop to accommodate the sink. I'm going to use a piece of plywood with a straight edge and using double-sided carpet tape, secure it to the countertop as a fence for my router. I'm also going to install painter's tape on the Formica to prevent any chip out while I make the cut. Then using a 1/2-inch straight bit in the router, I'm going to cut out the perimeter of the fence. My cutting depth is only 3/8 of an inch. I'll finish out the cut with the jigsaw. Well, if I had any forethought whatsoever, opening that window would have been a good idea and saved me from inhaling a cloud of MDF dust. After stepping out on the porch for a breath of fresh air, I'm going to repeat the process for the remainder of the sink. I'm reinstalling the existing sink, so I'm using the same opening from the old countertop. You can tell opening that window didn't help much. You can see that rooster tail of MDF dust the router is throwing over my shoulder, so I called in reinforcements and the supervisor broke out the vacuum and helped suck up the MDF dust. With the perimeter of the sink cut out, I'm going to drill a hole in all 4 corners so I can access my jigsaw and finish out the cut. I'm also going to have the supervisor get under the cabinet so she can catch and lift out the sink cutout to me from above. The last thing you want is for the sink cutout to fall through the cabinet and possibly damage it. Oh, by the way, did I mention I love the supervisor and all the sacrifices that she makes for this channel? With Z holding the countertop at a 90-degree angle, I can take the router with a flush cut trim bit and clean up the jigsaw cut. Using the routed edge I cut with the straight bit from the other side of the countertop, I can reference from that and clean up the jigsaw cut. This way you get a nice clean cut all the way around the kitchen sink opening. Now I thought I had removed all the pocket hole screws in my path, but wait for it, one lone pocket hole screw and it's time for a new flush trim bit. No worries, I had a spare and was able to finish the cut. When I built the countertops back in my workshop, I went ahead and chamfered the edge of the countertops. Now I only did this on the two side countertops and not the main countertop because I didn't know exactly where they would intersect. Now that everything has been dry fit and I know exactly where they will intersect, I can cut an 1/8 inch chamfer along the main countertop, then stain it and apply some wipe-on poly. Before I join and glue up the countertops, I decided to go ahead and cut in some biscuit slots here at the butt joints of both countertops. Now this is simply for alignment purposes only. It's not going to add any strength to the joint, but it will assist in aligning the joint during the glue up process. I've also pre-drilled pocket holes on the bottom side that I will use to act as clamps while the glue dries. With a little glue in the joint, Type Bond 3 for wet locations, I can now connect the two countertops. Once I get the biscuits aligned, I'll clamp the side countertop to the main countertop. Once I have it securely clamped, I can rotate the counter 90 degrees and screw in the pocket hole screws on the bottom side of the countertop. With the countertops complete, we can start the wall cabinet installation. Out of some scrap plywood, I made a simple jig to use to assist in the wall cabinet installation. I made it at the same height as the bottom of the cabinets, and it will act as a shelf holding the cabinet in place while I use my laser level to locate the wall studs and screw the cabinets to the wall. Wait a minute, do you see what I see? It looks like the supervisor's been sitting down on the job. Now with all the wall and base cabinets installed, I can focus my attention on the bar area. Before I can install the bar countertop, I had to prep the bar area. So I installed some 1-bys on both sides of the bar wall so I would have something to screw the bar countertop to and hold it in place. While I was doing that, Z started painting the exposed sides of the countertop and backsplash. And we went ahead and painted those black to match the Formica countertop at the range location. I had left these unfinished just in case I needed to cut them. Normally, I would have finished these sides with Formica, but not in this case. With the bar prepped, I can start installing the bar countertop. So I'm going to center it on the wall and then use some F-clamps to hold it down while I use my torpedo level to level the top and shim where needed. Then I'm going to screw the countertop down with 2.5 inch screws from the bottom of the 1-bys through the top. Next, using some Lexcel, I'm going to install the backsplashes all the way around the countertop. Okay, I'm not sure how that got in here, but that's for a different video. So here it is, the final product. I think the kitchen turned out great, and all the credit goes to the real supervisor, my beautiful wife Z. The rustic design was her idea, and she's the one who actually rusted all the corrugated metal that we used for the cabinet panels. This detail really gives the kitchen that cabin charm we were aiming for. I'll leave a link in the video description below that details how we rusted these panels. We also did some additional work that we didn't anticipate, like painting the entire kitchen, adding new LED lights, receptacles, and switches, but everything we did added value to this project. Now I'll leave links in the video description below to the tools that we used on this project. I'll also leave Airbnb links in the video description as well if you want to rent Red Maple Cabin here in Gatlinburg or our other cabin in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, White Oaks Cabin. And if you'd really like to support the channel, and you're feeling generous, then you can also leave us a super thanks. We hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as we enjoyed working on this project. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you found this helpful. We'll see you on the next one. I'm Rick with the Ingrain Workshop from Red Maple Cabin in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.